I'm listening to him describe the Tigers of 2005. And in my mind, I'm getting a picture of the Penrith Panthers in 2020. Young, excited, fast-paced, high energy, almost as though they're ignorant to the enormity of the challenge.
You look at them when they play, right, Benny, and they're just so confident. They've lost one game all year. That doesn't happen. So they've built up a trust within the team. And when you play in a team sport, and throughout all the years I've played, the best you play is when your team bond is tight. And when I see those guys play, the way they celebrate tries, the way they come running in when other teams make mistakes, and the way they have each other's back, they just look to me like their confidence is borderline arrogance. Seriously, the strut of some of those blokes. And I heard one of their players give an interview this week about he walked into the first training session and they were blaring music, and he's like, what the heck is this? But that's the new era, Benny. Times have changed from where you have to be serious in the sheds and you need to be quiet and disciplined. These young blokes out there, and the Penrith Panthers, to me, they seem like they're just a team that's just so confident and confident they can get the job done.
So what would you say then, if you're talking to the Panthers now, what would you say they have to be careful of?
Watching them play, I thought if they don't start fast, the inexperience might get the better of them. And on the weekend, South started fast and then scored first. And I was thinking, well, this is the defining moment for them, because in a big game, they've never played in a big game before, but do they bounce back and come into the team that we think they can be, or do they go the inexperienced way and just fall behind the wayside?
Crumble.
A little bit what Melbourne did the week before, So, and the signs they showed to come back from that was pretty impressive for me.
It's funny, you talk about the young players and how they think and operate differently. I was reading a column on foxsports.com.au today by our own Darcy McDonald around Api Coruscant, talking through the fact that he doesn't even watch NRL. He didn't watch the Storm.
Quite common.
Prelim. What?
It's different. Yeah, I don't know. It's just different, because I think what happens, rugby league is real professional where it's 24/7. It's your job. So you live and breathe it, right? And a lot of the young players need the release to get away from it. So I find with a lot of our guys, no one watches the footy unless it's the team we're playing the week after, or if it's the night before when they're trying to kill time. I'll watch every game. Some of these blokes won't watch a game throughout a weekend.
And why do they say that they don't watch?
To get away from it, because that's our job. It's 24/7. Do you go home and do you watch yourself commentate every game? Oh, you do?
Yeah. It's called air checking. Yeah.
I think it's like anyone's job. You don't want to go home and do your job that you do all day anyway.
But you're saying you watch a lot of footy.
Yeah, I do, because I've got to come in here and pretend I act like I know what I'm talking about.
But Benji, we read it, they watch a lot of NBA basketball, okay? You read about Tom Brady, quarterback for the Tampa Bay now, for the Patriots for many, many years, and the amount of vision he watches and the amount of study he does.
Yeah.
So players say they need a rest, they need a break from the game, and yet we see sometimes they make fundamental errors because they don't know the rules.
Yeah, it's probably taking it for granted.
Isn't it? But isn't the professionalism of the game? Wouldn't the requirement be to watch more footy?
Yeah, but if you come to a training week, we're watching typically 16, 17 hours of footage a week. Of team.
Oh, really?
So you're getting
individually, you'd watch 16, 17 hours.
Absolutely, and if you're in the halves or the spine of a team, more. Yeah. Right? Because you need to understand the game plan, you have to deliver the game plan, and you need to be the one on the field who's telling everyone what to do. So you need to know, and you need to know the strengths and the weaknesses of the opposition.
Right.
So we get enough of that during the week, Kenny. The reason people watch basketball and that sort of stuff is because it's a release from rugby league.
So the Melbourne Storm have made their 4th grand final in 5 years. Why does that not surprise you?
Well, I think, for starters, the coach, and for everyone that I've talked to about, what is it that makes Craig Bellamy? What's the difference? What's a point of difference? And the biggest response I get is a lot of them can't often explain it properly, apart from not only does he understand his players, he makes you confident and scared at the same time. You do a video session and you cop it for making mistakes, or he makes you accountable to your own actions, to your teammates, and you feel a responsibility that you need to deliver this and concentrate that throughout the whole game. And if you don't, you have to answer to your teammates, but they don't say to you, you're doing it wrong. You stand up in yourself and you say, I did this, and I'm not going to do that again. And the standards and the culture that I think the coach and the captain right now set is what you can see everyone's buying into. And 8 out of 10 prelims, 4 out of 5 grand finals. It's crazy.
Isn't it funny? I also think there's this unspoken part of Craig Bellamy that is not easy to replicate, that I would describe as empathy. And I don't think he knows how he delivers it for his players, but he does. There's this redeeming quality in him that you might look at him and see him spitting on the glass in the coach's box, storming out, kicking chairs, yelling at his team. But I think every year that every player goes back to the Melbourne Storm, beyond all the know your job, do your job, drive them hard sort of
You only have to look at
approach.
the amount of players he's brought along that might have struggled at other clubs, that he turns into top tier
But
players.
they know he cares.
Exactly.
You nearly went there.
Yeah, nearly.
How do you view that now? What do you think your career, how it would have ended?
Well,
if,
I don't know. I might have played in 4 of the last 5 grand finals, or made them worse. I don't know.
they might have played none.
Yeah, exactly.
The Melbourne Storm are the deserved favourites. How do
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't think they are the deserved favourites because, they obviously finished 1 and 2, but Penrith, they won more games than Melbourne this year, and I understand why
Experience counts, surely.
Yeah, sure it does.
4 of 5 grand finals.
Sure it does. But different teams from the last 4 years. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
So obviously, Penrith are trending in a direction with a team that I don't think I've ever seen in terms of confidence, and I talked about it earlier. Confidence, just no fear. The way they play, like
Speed of play.
flat, and they had, like Melbourne's defence are a lot of up and in defence to save themselves on the edges. Penrith have this ability to play flat, where they make you make the decision for them. And guys like Luai, Cleary on the ad line, and that's one of Ivan's strengths I found when he coached was he pushes quick play the balls, he pushes support, he pushes little defensive, tying in defensive line. The little behaviours is what Ivan's big on, and I see Penrith doing that better than all the other teams, and they can get the job done.
What do you think about the Dally M medal result last night?
Yeah, a little disappointed about the talk around it. Like, I think it's a bit sad for Jack, just in terms of the criticisms around the judging and that. The top 5 players were at the top of that list from this year, right? And whoever wins it, it come down to 1 point. Like, you can't be angry about that. But what I will say with Jack Wyden is he deserved it. And as a player, when you play against him, for a number of reasons, when you look at the Canberra team, he's the number 1 threat you have to stop. He runs the hardest, he tackles the hardest, and he's the most competitive bloke on their team. So when you're looking for a lift and a bit of momentum, he's the guy who brings it. And I think the votes are voted on the guy who has the biggest effect on the outcome of the game. And I thought in most of their wins, he probably had the most effect.
Now, is there any update on the future of Benji Marshall?
No, there's not. But I'll be playing at a team somewhere.
Can I just say there's someone else in the game who's not announcing what he's doing next year? He's copying
If I had something to announce, I would, mate. So seriously.
That's the difference.
Are you believing?
I believe him.
Yeah.
It's not his fault no one's interested.
Well, it is my fault.